So someone with cancer, what would be the best breakfast for them? With the cancer, we usually advocate 6 weeks no fruit. So what would be their breakfast if there's going to be no fruit? We want to get the glucose levels down even lower. So maybe just half a cup of some of the grains we just looked at. Maybe rice. So will we put buckwheat or rice? And we can have some green.
Welcome to today's eye-opening discussion on cancer prevention with Barbara O'Neill, a world-renowned health expert who has transformed countless lives through her teachings. Today, we're diving into the surprising truth about grains and their role in cancer prevention. You might be amazed to learn how these everyday foods can become powerful allies in your health journey. Barbara O'Neill sheds light on how grains can be more than just nutritious additions. They can actively support the body in cancer prevention. To understand their role, let's explore why grains are essential for a cancer-preventive diet. Whole grains like spelt, millet, kamut, and quinoa are packed with nutrients that benefit overall health. According to Barbara, these grains are rich in fiber, antioxidants, and phytochemicals, which protect cells, reduce inflammation, and promote healthy digestion. Beyond these benefits, certain grains also contain beta-glucans, a type of soluble fiber found in oats and barley, known for enhancing immune response and potentially slowing the growth of cancer cells. An interesting perspective on organic food comes from global advocates like Dr. Vandana Shiva, an environmental activist from India promoting organic, non-GMO farming through her organization, Navdanya.
Did you know that Vladimir Putin, the Russian's president, he's passed a law that any Russian who grows or sells genetically modified foods is to be considered a terrorist? Whew. He's even giving land away to Russians who will grow food organically, non-GMO. You put his name and GMO in Google that and you'll read the spiel. He says, we Russians look across at the West, over-vaccinated, over-medicated, overfed, sitting in front of boxes every night in their lounge rooms, eating food that has no nutrients, he said, and we know it's weakening the West. Is he right? Absolutely right. Yeah. Unfortunately, Monsanto is so powerful and so wealthy and so big, they win every court case where Australians want GMO to be labelled on the products. Happens in America too. It's unfortunate. So how do you know? Well, you don't, unless you buy organic. You see, if an organic farmer uses genetically modified seed, they lose their organic status. So grow as much as you can yourself. And the more Aussies that buy organic, the more organic will be available. One organic tomato will give you 9 times the iron of a conventionally grown tomato. So you get much more value for your money, even though organic is more expensive. Genetically modified food happens when the DNA of 2 different species are spliced together to create, for instance, DNA of the tomato with the DNA of an Atlantic salmon, hoping to create a tomato that grows in the snow, but actually it doesn't grow in the snow. And it has 5 centres instead of 1, and there's all these strange things happening, and when the person eats that tomato, it breaks down to molecules that your body cannot recognise and has the ability to damage your DNA.
Her work underscores the growing awareness of diet and lifestyle impacts on health, further highlighting the value of whole, natural foods like grains in a health-conscious diet. In this video, you'll learn the 5 grains Barbara O'Neill recommends to beat disease and fight cancer. Disclaimer: this video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult a qualified health provider with any medical questions. Do not ignore or delay seeking professional advice because of this video. Any footage of individuals shown is for commentary and discussion purposes only. Kamut. Barbara O'Neill recommends kamut for its powerful health benefits. Kamut, an ancient variety of wheat, is known for its high protein content and rich supply of essential nutrients, including B vitamins, magnesium, and zinc, which help boost energy levels and support immune function.
Now, if that hybridized wheat was made into a sourdough bread, because of the culturing process, it breaks down the gluten structure to make it a little bit more fragile. And if spelt is made into sourdough bread, it can bring it back to that original structure of the inkhorn wheat. Now, if someone eats wheat and they have an intolerance to it, do you know it can get that blood pressure up? So blood pressure can be caused by wheat. So how do you know what you are? I've got a challenge for you. Stop it for 2 months, see what happens. Well, what will we eat? Well, you can buy some very nice Spelt and kamut breads in New Zealand. Go to your health food shop. You can buy gluten-free pastas. You can buy gluten-free cereals. But as you saw in my lecture last night, and by what I explained before the break, the 3 main essential food groups are your fibre, your protein, and your fats. What we need to do is get the carbohydrate part of our diet down, down, down. So what do we eat? Well, I'll tell you what I ate today. For breakfast, I had some new season apple, I had some nectarine, I had some almonds, I had a gluten-free bread that had been bought that had buckwheat and some very nice grains in it. I had olive oil on that, I had avocado on top of that, and I had black-eyed beans on that. Very high in fibre, everything had fibre, generous amounts of protein and some healthy fats. And then I'm not hungry again. I think we ate at 8 o'clock today, and I think we had lunch at 2:30, something like that. You're not hungry till then. Fantastic, because those foods keep the body going. They slowly release the nutrients.
Unlike modern wheat, kamut has not been heavily hybridized, retaining a more digestible gluten structure that makes it easier on the digestive system for many people, including those with mild gluten sensitivities.
Why are so many people gluten intolerant? I would say 75 to 80% of guests that come here are either sensitive to gluten, gluten intolerant, or the severe sign is celiac. Why is that? There are 4 reasons. One is babies are being fed starch too young. Strange things are happening today. People are feeding babies food and human beings, adults, are drinking milk. Isn't that strange? We don't think it is because we're so used to it. It's only the last 100 years that babies are being fed food. Now, when I was a young mother, I didn't like the way mothering happened. I didn't like that you had to buy all these contraptions and all these special foods and formulas. So I decided that I would make island women and African women in villages my mentors. And I was going to mother like they did. And I didn't feed them because they didn't have teeth, because that defied reason to me. I thought babies should not eat until they can sit, till they can get the food, until they have something in their mouth to chew it. Does that make sense? You know, there's been a death, no one attended the funeral because no one knew he'd died. It was the death of common sense. Isn't that right? We may not be doctors, but we have common sense. So that's what I did. My babies had lots of wet nappies, they were happy, they were well padded. I thought, they are not giving me any sign that they need any more.
Kamut is also packed with antioxidants, particularly selenium, which helps protect cells from oxidative stress and inflammation, both of which can lead to chronic diseases, including cancer. According to the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition, a study looked at how eating kamut, a type of ancient wheat, can help our health, especially for our hearts. In this study, 22 healthy people ate foods made from kamut, like bread and pasta, for 8 weeks. The researchers wanted to see if kamut could lower bad cholesterol, blood sugar, and inflammation in the body, which can lead to diseases like heart problems and even cancer. The results were promising. People who ate kamut had lower levels of bad cholesterol and blood sugar. They also had less inflammation, which is important because too much inflammation can make us sick. Here's a simple way to add kamut to your diet with a flavorful kamut and vegetable salad. Start by soaking 1 cup of dried kamut overnight, then drain and rinse it. In a pot, combine the soaked kamut with 3 cups of water, bring to a boil, and then reduce the heat to let it simmer for about 30-40 minutes, or until the grains are tender but still chewy. Drain any excess water and let the kamut cool. In a large mixing bowl, combine the cooked kamut with diced cucumber, cherry tomatoes, chopped bell peppers, and a handful of fresh parsley. Drizzle with olive oil, and a squeeze of lemon juice, and season with salt and pepper to taste. Toss everything together, and you have a nutritious, hearty salad that showcases the benefits of kamut. This dish makes a delicious lunch or side, packed with fiber, protein, and essential nutrients. Spelt. Barbara O'Neill recommends spelt because it's a healthy grain that can help protect against cancer and keep the body strong.
Spelt and kamut are wild hybrids of the original wheat. So let me give you the wheat story. The original wheat that God made is called enkenhorn, or some call it just enkhorn. And that original wheat had a very fragile protein or gluten structure. It is not sure when, but they estimate a couple of thousand years ago, enkenhorn did a wild hybrid with a field grass and came up with the Emma strain of wheat. Its structure, its protein or gluten structure is not as fragile, but it's still fairly fragile. And in the 1950s, it was the Emma strain of wheat that was put through intensive crossbreeding, and it came up with the hybridized wheat that we know today. That hybridization of the wheat created an incredibly complex gluten or protein structure. Yesterday we looked at the starch that was changed, but today we're looking at how the hybridization process changed the gluten or the protein structure, and it's almost only a cast iron gut that can break down that very complex protein or gluten structure. That explains why so many people are gluten intolerant today. You look at the timeline. So it was the 1950s that the wheat was hybridized. It was the 1970s that it went worldwide. So by the 1990s, every pasta, every pizza, every biscuit, cake, cookie, donut, cereal, bread, it's all made out of the hybridized wheat. You see, the farmers love it, and I don't blame them for loving it because they get 6 times more grain per acre. Who wouldn't like that? They've got to pay their bills. But as I mentioned yesterday, it was zoomed through to help with the starvation crisis in the world, and safety studies were never done. This explains the gluten intolerance that we see today. The 2 most common symptoms of a gluten intolerance is brain fog and bloating. I meet so many people that have brain fog and bloating, and they almost think it's normal, or it can be blamed on age. Poor old age gets blamed for so many things. Isn't that true? Now this Emma wheat, it also did a wild hybrid to come up with a field grass and came up with the spelt. So the spelt, it has retained the fairly fragile structure, and if that spelt meal is made into a sourdough bread, the culturing process in the sourdough bread breaks down that protein or gluten structure even more, so that it now has the original structure of the enkenhorn. If someone is celiac, they cannot have even the spelt. But if someone's gluten intolerant or gluten sensitive, they can usually handle the spelt, especially if it's made into a sourdough bread. One lady said, "I don't like sourdough spelt bread." I said, "Well, you haven't tasted a good one. Please taste a few. Some are really good." So you have to investigate.
Spelt is high in fiber, which helps with digestion and keeps the colon clean, lowering the chance of colon cancer. It's also packed with antioxidants like selenium and vitamin E, which protect cells from damage that can lead to cancer. Spelt's protein is easier to digest than the protein in regular wheat, making it a good option for people who have trouble with gluten. This makes it easier for the body to absorb spelt's nutrients, which helps boost the immune system and fight off disease. According to a review in the journal Nutrients, eating whole grains like spelt can help lower the risk of getting certain types of cancer. The review looked at many studies and found that people who eat more whole grains, including spelt, have a 6% to 12% lower chance of dying from cancer compared to those who eat less. Whole grains are good for you because they have important nutrients and fiber that can help keep your body healthy. Here's a delicious way to add spelt to your diet with a simple spelt and veggie bowl. Start by placing 1 cup of cooked spelt in a bowl as the base. Then, add a handful of fresh chopped spinach, half a cup of diced tomatoes, and some cucumber slices, topping it off with a few avocado slices. Drizzle a tablespoon of olive oil and a teaspoon of lemon juice over everything, then sprinkle a pinch of salt and pepper to taste. Gently toss all the ingredients together, and you have a nutrient-packed meal that's perfect for lunch or dinner. This bowl is not only tasty but also a great way to enjoy the health benefits of spelt. Millet. Barbara O'Neill recommends millet for its impressive health benefits, particularly its role in cancer prevention and weight management.
For your grains, the millet is alkaline. We had millet this morning. It's a delicious grain, isn't it? I'm sure you can understand when I said it needs to be dressed. It's basically a bland grain, but it's very nice with the stewed apple and the pear cream and the sprinkles on top. Or it's also very nice if you have it with savoury, your lentils.
Millet is rich in fiber, which supports healthy digestion and helps keep the colon clear, lowering the risk of colon cancer. It's also packed with antioxidants like flavonoids, which reduce inflammation and protect cells from damage, a key factor in preventing cancer. Unlike many grains, millet has a low glycemic index, meaning it doesn't spike blood sugar levels, a crucial point, as high blood sugar can feed cancer cells. Millet is also a good source of magnesium, which supports energy and metabolism, helping the body burn fat more efficiently. Barbara suggests including millet in meals to enjoy its benefits for cancer prevention and overall health. A study done in Korea found that millet's fiber, plant protease inhibitors, and bioactive peptides may help stop cancer growth by killing cancer cells and preventing them from spreading. It also showed that millet helps keep blood sugar and blood pressure under control, and may protect against thyroid and heart issues.
What about grains? Millet. You tasted millet for breakfast. It's a delicious grain, isn't it? I think it's one of my favourites. It's a light, sweet grain. Millet is a little different to other grains. Instead of 2 cups of water to 1 cup of grain, you've got to do 3 cups of water to 1 cup of grain when you cook the millet. And always buy hulled millet. If you buy millet with its hull on, you can cook it for 2 weeks and it'll still be crunchy. Some people don't mind it, but if someone's got some colon problems, it might irritate a little.
Here's a simple way to enjoy millet with a nutritious breakfast porridge. Start by rinsing 1 cup of millet under cold water and draining it well. In a saucepan, combine the millet with 2 cups of water, or milk, dairy or non-dairy, and bring it to a boil. Once it's boiling, reduce the heat to low, cover, and let it simmer for about 20 minutes, or until the millet is soft and the liquid is absorbed. For added flavor, stir in a teaspoon of honey or maple syrup and a sprinkle of cinnamon. Serve the porridge warm, top with fresh berries or banana slices for a satisfying, health-boosting breakfast. Quinoa. Barbara O'Neill recommends quinoa for its powerful health benefits, especially for fighting disease and supporting cancer prevention.
Quinoa. I think we'll be having quinoa at another breakfast time. These are alkaline grains, but they're also gluten-free grains, so that's made them very popular.
Quinoa is packed with protein, fiber, and all 9 essential amino acids, making it a complete protein that's ideal for building and repairing tissues. This high fiber content promotes healthy digestion and helps remove toxins, which is important for reducing the risk of colon cancer. Quinoa is also rich in antioxidants like quercetin and camphorol, which help reduce inflammation and protect cells from damage that can lead to cancer. With its low glycemic index, quinoa supports stable blood sugar levels, which is essential for those focused on a cancer-preventive diet, as high blood sugar can fuel cancer cells. Barbara points out that quinoa's nutrient density, combined with its easy digestibility, makes it a great grain for building strength and enhancing the body's resilience against disease. Incorporating quinoa regularly into meals not only supports cancer prevention but also boosts overall health.
Quinoa. This is a grain Aussies are just beginning to become familiar with. It's spelt Quinoa, but it's pronounced quinoa. The Aztecs love their quinoa. Aussies are starting to get familiar with it because it's a gluten-free grain.
Here's a simple way to add quinoa to your diet with a quick and healthy veggie stir-fry. Start by combining 1 cup of rinsed quinoa with 2 cups of water or vegetable broth in a pot, bringing it to a boil. Once boiling, reduce the heat, cover, and let it simmer for about 15 minutes or until the quinoa is fluffy and all the liquid is absorbed. In a large pan, heat a tablespoon of olive oil over medium heat, Then add 1 clove of minced garlic and your choice of mixed vegetables, like bell peppers, carrots, and broccoli, and sauté until tender. Add the cooked quinoa to the pan and stir to combine with the vegetables, seasoning with salt and pepper to taste. For an extra boost of flavor, top with fresh herbs if desired. This veggie quinoa stir-fry makes for a delicious, nutrient-packed meal that's easy to enjoy any time of day. Amaranth. Barbara O'Neill recommends amaranth for its exceptional health benefits, particularly its role in supporting disease prevention and cancer-fighting efforts.
Amaranth. Amaranth is a grain that's not very well known. I think the Aztecs, traditionally they've eaten the quinoa and the amaranth. It's a very tiny grain, and when you cook it, it goes like a lump of glue. But what I often do when my grandsons are with us, because they like a porridge, I'll put a little amaranth with the millet, or I'll put a little amaranth with the quinoa. Or if they have oats, I'll put a little amaranth with the oats. So that's quite nice.
Amaranth is rich in protein and contains all 9 essential amino acids, which makes it a powerful choice for building and repairing body tissues. It's also high in fiber, which supports digestive health, and can help reduce the risk of colon cancer by keeping the digestive system clear and balanced. Amaranth is packed with antioxidants like vitamin E and phenolic acids, which help protect cells from oxidative stress and inflammation, 2 key factors that can lead to cancer. According to the European Journal of Nutrition, a study looked at a special protein from amaranth seeds. The researchers wanted to see if this protein could help fight cancer. They tested it on different types of cancer cells in the lab. They found that the protein could stop the cancer cells from growing and even caused some of them to die. Here's a simple way to enjoy the health benefits of amaranth with a warm and nourishing breakfast porridge. Start by combining 1 cup of amaranth with 2.5 cups of water or milk, dairy or non-dairy, in a saucepan. Bring it to a boil, then reduce the heat, cover, and let it simmer for about 20-25 minutes, or until the amaranth is soft and the liquid has been absorbed. For a touch of sweetness and flavor, stir in a teaspoon of honey or maple syrup, and a dash of cinnamon. Serve the porridge warm, top with fresh berries or sliced banana for a wholesome and satisfying breakfast. This simple amaranth porridge is a delicious way to incorporate this nutritious grain into your daily routine.